Hello and welcome back to another YouTube video. Today I'm going to be doing a bit of a different one and I'm going to be talking about the next patch. So patch 13.14, hopefully we'll have a lot of changes in it, and in its current state League is not doing particularly well. It's really struggling to find a lot of popularity. People don't praise it particularly highly. A lot of people have a lot of complaints about it, and overall viewership just isn't doing particularly well. So hopefully 13.14 will be the patch which saves League of Legends. So let's get into it. To begin with, we're going to get a 2v2 mode. I've seen a lot of people talk about this, mainly like negatively about other people's kind of like ways of playing it, but I think this game is for everyone. Like, you can play it to you can play to both min-max and you can play casually. I think both audiences have a place where they can play within this game mode. There is a casual and there is a ranked queue. So people complaining about tier lists, it just doesn't make a huge amount of sense, but that's not what I'm covering here. I mainly just want to talk about some of the things. So new game mode, it's got both a casual and ranked queue, so people can kind of do what they want. Allows for both min-maxing and just chilling. And there's lots of unique ways to play. We've got the like cameos from the new skin line champions. So we have things like Samira, Pyke set within the arena. You'll have things like there's lots of augments. You'll have 3 different tiers of augments. I'm pretty sure there's 96 augments in total in this game mode, and if Riot see that people enjoy it, it gets a lot of play, then they'll add customs for it and possibly make it into a permanent game mode, which would be really good to see. There's lots of ways they can implement this into a permanent game mode with the addition of more augments, new maps, different cameos. You can do lots of things with this, and it should be quite popular if that's what the current trajectory shows. So we're getting a new champion as well. Nefari is going to be a mid lane assassin, very AD heavy. I don't believe she has any AP ratios, has a lot of mobility. I think it's 3 dashes she has within her kit, and overall just a fast, high mobility assassin with she is also one of the first true monster champs we've had in a while. I believe this is the first true monster champ we've had since Yuumi. We've had a couple of like hybrids, things like Lilia, for example, but overall should be quite exciting to have a new champ finally out in the game. Top lane adjustments, this is gonna be the main thing I want to cover. So top lane is getting a huge amount of changes. Lots of these are the 3 which I picked for examples, but there are a lot more. We're getting things like Set, Mordekaiser, I believe this patch, which are going to get adjusted. But overall, a lot of it comes down to their base damage is going to get nerfed. They're going to gain compensation through AD ratios or AP ratios, and overall that should give them a lot more power when snowballing. Makes things like Dark Seal and just raw AD a lot more valuable. So champs like Aatrox will now really value things with high amounts of AD in them. Things like Gordring, Eclipse over things like Evenshard, which a lot of Aatroxes had been going for a while. Plus the minion damage, quite nice. If this goes up, it allows him to have more wave clear, allows him to have more agency later on into the game. Things like this go for a lot of champions. Mordekaiser, it's his Q, doing a bit more damage there on low AP ratio. For Volibear, he's gaining a 4% increase on his heal, which is quite nice. It means that if he's building health items, he really gets a lot more value through his W heal. Shyvana, one of the worst champs in the game at the moment, finally seeing some adjustments, gaining a 20% AD ratio on the Q. So if you're opting into Q max, that is now going to definitely help. Q cooldown is increased from 7 to 5 to 8 to 6 seconds. This is mainly to allow her to gain power in other areas, and her Q is now going to give her 40 to 60% attack speed for the last 2 attacks, quite nice there. And E now also going to give her on hit scaling 1% max HP per 100 bonus AD. So overall, quite nice. Set was going to gain some Q AD ratios, I believe, and I think there are a couple other champions within the mix. They are going to also, of course, adjust Ghost and Triforce this patch, I believe. These are mainly to nerf ADC, so they want to keep them fairly power neutral towards bruisers who run it in the top lane. But yeah, this should make top laners better to play around, as gold will become more valuable for the champions here. If you've got higher AD ratios, you really value gold a lot more. This is kind of their intent, to make it a better lane to play around and to have a bit more agency in the game, so they can snowball harder. Things like just things like having a higher AD ratios, better wave clear, allow top laners to really run around, impact the map a lot more. rather than just having the ability to TP into bot lane like they used to, it's now going to be a lot more through their own power. So that's quite nice. Early game jungle buffs. This is another one which is going to really help top laners and just laners in general. Having junglers losing a bit of power from their buffs early on into the game, losing a bit of slow on the red buff, losing a bit of haste on the blue buff, overall should make it harder for junglers to just straight up kill laners, but still chunk them down. It's not to kill early game ganking, but to just hurt it, tag it a bit, so you're rewarded more for clearing. Things like gold per tree increase from 20 to 25. Overall, quite nice. Good to see a bit of power shifted away from just perma ganking laners. And yeah, overall not huge, but it should give laners a bit more breathing room, especially early on. The things which will be interesting to see is how much, like with 20 haste on blue buff later on into the game, how much this like benefits mid laners when with the new buff sharing. This will definitely help things like your Oriannas, your like mages which can spam out a lot of abilities. Things like Victor will definitely benefit from like haste. Veigar, another one. So overall, we'll have to see how these changes land, but not huge, just beneficial towards laners. ADC item changes, I can never seem to stop talking about these because they're permanently within patches. So Gale Force is getting enough. This will be really nice for champions which want to catch them. Going from a cooldown of 90 seconds to 120 seconds means that ADCs will either have to start taking Ingenious or they will just have to suffer with the longer cooldown, and the base damage going down as well from 150 to 350 to 150 to 300 is a decent power loss as well. Infinity Edge is going to be gaining 10% crit damage, crit damage increase, and the attack damage is going to go down by 5, which overall, this is going to hurt, i.e. is like a first item option, but definitely benefit it later on in the game. So overall, just taking a bit of power away from early game, taking a bit of early power away from ADCs and making Gale Force users a bit more punishable. So this will benefit junglers, assassins, top laners, and most things in general, which can punish the longer cooldown on Gale Force and just punish ADCs early on in the game. So once again, take away some ADC agency, giving it back to the rest of the map. Quite nice. New skin, thematic, and in-client event. So we're going to get a bunch of new skins with interesting thematics. We're going to be getting the Soul Fighter skin line, which is going to have Gwen, Pyke, Samira, Viego, Jhin, Lux. I don't know who this is off the top of my head. Sett, Eve, and Nefari. Who is it? Oh, Shaco, of course, yeah. Shaco and Pyke are the ones who are going to be getting the prestiges. Samira getting an ultimate skin, which lots of complaints about. It does look like a legendary. No real unique things on this, bar the cell shaded numbers on the ultimate. So a bit of a miss there, but overall, still pretty cool skin line, lots of interesting like lore things within it, and of course this is going to be coming to Legends of Runeterra, TFT for like a bit towards TFT as well. So lots of cool things just in general a lot across this. Viego also going to be getting the legendary, but has unique voice lines and should be pretty cool. New skin, new client mini game. This is going to be like a fighting style mini game, I believe, where you fight different soul fighters throughout the event. It's not going to be like the other ones where we had like these comics and stories. It's just going to be more of an interactive fighting style one, and hopefully over the event we're going to see some more things released by Riot. We should be getting another dev drop which will have some things talking about Jax and the other two ASUs being Lee Sin and Teemo, hopefully, and they'll probably also talk about a couple of things to do with like the AI changes towards the bots. So hopefully we get some bot changes where they become a bit more interactive and you can actually like practice against them, because right now the bots in League of Legends not great. They're very much just the way you farm to level up, and hopefully all of this just revives League a bit, because the game not doing too hot at the moment. The general consensus is that it's just hard to have fun with how toxic the game environment is, and when people are toxic, people care a lot less. The rank doesn't feel satisfying to play at the moment, and all this has just kind of led to this game where people just aren't really enjoying it, and a lot of people are either stopping or just waiting for like new content to be released, and this is hopefully the time people come back and enjoy it. This will also mark the start of the new rank season. Victorious Anivia is the skin we're getting for the end of this season, and next season we will be getting Emerald rank, so that'll be interesting to see, because this season is going to be split into 2 halves. But overall, that's kind of all the changes that are happening. There is a decent amount, so hopefully this does a lot to change kind of the path of the league, where League is just struggling at the moment. So yeah, thank you guys for watching, I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.